The Vikings, a name whispered in fear, a legend forged in fire and ice. From the fjords of Scandinavia they erupted, shattering the peace of Europe. Raiders, explorers, traders. Their story is one of brutal violence, but also of incredible artistry and resilience. Prepare to journey back in time to an age of iron and blood. The Vikings were more than just barbarians. Their culture, though harsh, was complex and sophisticated. Their mythology, rich with gods and monsters, shaped their worldview. Their craftsmanship, from their ships to their jewelry, was unparalleled. This is their story, the complete story, with all its triumphs and horrors. The Vikings were fierce warriors. They embraced combat as a way of life. Their raids, swift and brutal, left a trail of destruction across Europe. Monasteries were plundered, villages were put to the torch, and countless lives were lost to their axes and swords. Their reputation as fearsome warriors is well-deserved, but the Vikings' brutality wasn't limited to the battlefield. They practiced slavery on a vast scale, capturing and trading human beings like commodities. These slaves, often captured during raids, were forced into lives of servitude. They worked the land, served as household servants, and were even traded as far away as the Byzantine Empire. The Vikings' religious practices were also often brutal. They believed in a pantheon of gods who demanded blood sacrifices. Animals, and sometimes even humans, were sacrificed to appease the gods and ensure victory in battle. These rituals were often performed by priests known as Godi, who held significant power within Viking society. The image of the Viking berserker, a warrior driven into a frenzy by battle lust, is not without merit. These warriors, fueled by a combination of ritualistic practices and possibly hallucinogenic substances, fought with a terrifying ferocity. They were said to be immune to pain and fear, becoming unstoppable forces on the battlefield. The Vikings' military prowess stemmed from their mastery of shipbuilding and seafaring. Their long ships, sleek and fast, allowed them to strike with terrifying speed. They could navigate rivers and seas with equal ease, raiding far inland before their enemies could react. These ships were more than just vessels of war. They were symbols of the Vikings' power and ingenuity. Viking raids were not random acts of violence. They were carefully planned operations, often targeting wealthy monasteries and undefended settlements. The Vikings relied on the element of surprise, attacking quickly and decisively before their victims could mount a defense. Their success in raiding made them wealthy, fueling further expansion and conquest. On the battlefield, the Vikings were masters of both strategy and individual combat. They employed a variety of tactics, including the shield wall, a tightly packed formation of warriors wielding shields and spears. Individual warriors armed with axes, swords, and bows were renowned for their skill and ferocity. The Vikings' impact on warfare extended beyond their own time. Their raiding and conquest forced the kingdoms of Europe to adapt their military strategies. The need to counter the Viking threat led to the development of stronger fortifications, more centralized armies, and ultimately, the rise of powerful feudal lords. Life for the average Viking was harsh, but not without its own unique culture and social structure. Far from the image of savage barbarians, they had a complex social hierarchy, a love for storytelling and craftsmanship, and a strong sense of community. Viking society was divided into three main classes: Jarls, Carls, and Thralls. The Jarls were the chieftain class, powerful landowners who commanded great respect and influence. The Carls were freemen, farmers, artisans, and warriors who made up the bulk of Viking society. At the bottom were the Thralls, slaves who had no rights and were considered property. Despite their warrior reputation, Vikings were skilled craftsmen and artisans. They were master shipbuilders, as evidenced by their long ships. They were also skilled blacksmiths, creating weapons and tools of exceptional quality. Women played a vital role in Viking society, managing households, weaving, and even trading. Storytelling and oral tradition were central to Viking culture. They had a rich mythology, filled with tales of gods and monsters, heroes and villains. These stories were passed down through generations, preserving their history and beliefs. The Skalds, Viking poets and storytellers, held a place of honor in their society. Norse mythology, the rich tapestry of beliefs held by the Vikings, offers a glimpse into their worldview. It is a world populated by powerful gods, fearsome monsters, and epic tales of heroism and tragedy. At the heart of Norse mythology is Odin, the All-Father, god of wisdom, war, and death. Thor, the god of thunder, wields his mighty hammer, Mjolnir, against giants. Freya, the goddess of love and beauty, rides her chariot pulled by cats. The Vikings believed in a complex afterlife with warriors welcomed into Valhalla. These beliefs fueled their warrior ethos, encouraging bravery in the face of death. Norse mythology was a living belief system that permeated every aspect of Viking life. Their myths and legends continue to captivate and inspire. The Vikings were not just raiders, they were conquerors who established their presence across Europe and beyond. Their explorations and conquests left an indelible mark on the map, shaping the political and cultural landscape of the world. One of the most famous Viking conquests was the establishment of the Danelaw in England. Through a series of raids and invasions, the Vikings seized control of a large portion of eastern England, imposing their laws and customs on the Anglo-Saxon population. This Viking influence can still be seen in English place names, language, and culture today. The Vikings also ventured east, sailing down the rivers of Russia and establishing trade routes that reached as far as the Byzantine Empire. They founded cities like Kiev, which would become a major center of power in Eastern Europe. Their influence in this region was vast, extending from the Baltic Sea to the Caspian Sea. Perhaps the most daring of all Viking voyages were those to the west, across the treacherous North Atlantic. Led by explorers like Eric the Red and Leif Erikson, the Vikings established settlements in Greenland and even reached the shores of North America, centuries before Columbus. These voyages are a testament to their incredible seafaring skills and spirit of exploration. Beyond the popular image of fierce warriors, the Vikings harbored surprising complexities. They were not just a homogeneous group of raiders, but a diverse people with their own unique customs, beliefs, and practices. Contrary to popular belief, Vikings did not wear horned helmets in battle. The image of the horned helmet, while iconic, is a misconception. Archaeological evidence suggests that Viking helmets, if worn at all, were simple and practical, designed for protection rather than intimidation. The Vikings were surprisingly clean and hygienic for their time. Archaeological excavations have uncovered combs, tweezers, and other grooming tools, indicating a concern for personal hygiene. They bathed regularly, often in saunas, and took pride in their appearance. Viking women enjoyed a surprising degree of freedom and agency compared to women in other cultures of the time. They could own property, divorce their husbands, and even participate in trade. However, their lives were still largely defined by their roles as wives and mothers. The Vikings were not a unified empire, but rather a collection of independent chiefdoms and kingdoms. These groups often fought amongst themselves, vying for power and resources. Their history is one of shifting alliances, betrayals, and internal conflict, as much as it is of external conquest. The Viking Age may be over, but their legacy continues to resonate through history. Their impact can be felt in the languages we speak, the places we live, and the stories we tell. The Vikings' voyages of exploration and conquest expanded the known world, connecting different cultures and continents. Their settlements and trade routes helped to shape the political and economic landscape of Europe and beyond. Their influence can still be seen in the DNA of populations across the globe. The Viking language, Old Norse, gave rise to many modern languages, including English, Swedish, Norwegian, and Danish. Their impact on the English language is particularly significant, with many words, place names, and even grammatical structures originating from Old Norse. The Vikings left behind a rich cultural legacy, from their intricate artwork and craftsmanship to their captivating mythology and sagas. Their stories continue to inspire and entertain, reminding us of a time of adventure, exploration, and cultural exchange. The Vikings, both admired and feared, were a complex and fascinating people. They were more than just raiders and warriors. They were explorers, traders, artisans, and storytellers who left an indelible mark on the world. Their story is a reminder that history is not always black and white, but a tapestry woven from shades of gray. Want to delve deeper into the mysteries of history? Crave more untold stories and fascinating facts? Then join the Fact Grid. We're passionate about unearthing the hidden truths of the past, from ancient civilizations to the modern era. Subscribe to our channel